Hi everyone, I'm Chris Meyer. My history with Okoboji Lutheran Bible Camp involves our entire family. Our 2 children were part of the recharge weekends. My husband Don and I led several marriage retreats here, and I led several women's retreats as well. Our cousin Swen and Kristen Swenson were also on staff. So congratulations on a wonderful history of faithfulness in spreading God's love. And now, let me tell you my story. Begins about 100 years ago. In the beginning were the lots, and the lots were empty, and lo, someone had a vision. This story happened when I was in my early teens. These details I learned from my family because they were part of a group who helped build the beloved tabernacle. This true tale began just about 100 years ago in 1927. A group started a camp and found several lots to purchase in Minnetonka Park for $1,000. They wanted to build a church. Borrowing $1,200 to finance the building, those early visionaries on those lots in Minnetonka Park built the chapel, which they called the tabernacle. The altar of the tabernacle faced the west, and the entry door faced the east. However, later new visionaries reversed, so as the altar would face the east and the entrance on the west side as you see it today. I never cared which way it faced. I loved coming here no matter which direction we were looking. With the floor of gravel and benches built from 2x6 lumber pieces, that very first summer the tabernacle was ready to welcome people for the 10-day camp. I will never forget how they poured into that tabernacle that first Sunday. Everyone was so eager to worship by the lake in that special place. Nearly 500 people gathered each Sunday for services. Some of the neighboring congregations only had services a couple of those Sundays a month, so the tabernacle at the camp was most often filled to the brim. Those first campers were so hungry for the experience of staying in a camp by a lake, near a special church, to sing, hear the good news of Jesus, make friends, and feel God through the nature that surrounded them. They even slept in their cars because the camp only offered tents to sleep in, and most often they were full. I wish you could have heard this singing in those early years. At the camp, people were able to hear and sing beautiful music and learn more about connecting to a deeper faith walk with God. In those early days, there was a woman and her sister who came to the camp. They were deeply blessed by coming here. It was here at the camp that they first heard Beautiful Savior sung. They'd never heard it before, and they fell in love with that hymn and loved singing it from that day on. In fact, they both wanted the funeral sung, hymn sung at their funeral, which indeed it was. And let me tell you about the food. Oh my, no one left the camp hungry because Nora Thompson, who was hired as a camp cook in 1928, cooked there for the next 36 years. She always included generous helpings of love in everything made in that well-used kitchen. In the 1940s, her husband Dave was hired as the camp manager. He served in that position until his sudden death near the end of the camping season in 1961. Oh, it was a sad time for everyone to lose this faithful servant to the camp. Dave and Nora Thompson will always hold a special place in the history of this camp to which they dedicated so much of their lives. I love to remember those early visionaries as they looked at the empty lots in the Minnetonka Park. Though I was young, I remember them standing there, arms folded, nodding their heads to each other and saying, these lots might just be what we need to build the church for the camp idea we have. Yeah, we have the money for the land, but we probably need to borrow the money to build a church. It will be a stretch. But we just have to trust God that we can do it. Yeah, we do. And they did. It was by faith that the lots were bought and the tabernacle was built. It was by faith that they opened the doors to the church and held the first 10-day camp in the summer. But it was God's love that put the joy in the hearts of two women listening to the sound of Beautiful Savior for the first time. Just think how that joy was lived out to connect others to this place. Just think how the love of a cook named Nora and her presence as she served the young and fearful campers that stood in line to eat each summer. Surely they left her kitchen feeling God's love flow through that caring cook. Think of the skills in a manager named Dave who kept the camp growing and going so that it would be here today. We only know that it was these people trusting that God had a purpose for them to fulfill, and God did the rest. Yes. In the beginning were the lots, and lo, the lots were good. In the beginning were plain, faithful people, willing to take a risk and trust our God of love. And lo, the camp grew and touched the lives of multitude. And it was so.